Hey, flower friends. It is your friend in flowers. Do y'all know what this is? This is a straw flower. This time of the year, all I have are some dried ones that we have hanging around here. And I have never met a straw flower I didn't love. And I want to share tonight with you guys why I find them so incredibly helpful and useful, and how I grow them, and all about these little fellas. All right, friends. So tonight's show is all about why I love straw flowers and why I succession plant them. I think they're one of the best kept secrets in, if you're making bouquets, they are an amazing bouquet ingredient. So we're going to get to all that. And if we haven't ever met before, my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I've been a commercial flower farmer for the past 25 years, and I own the Gardener's Workshop, which is a educational platform, is kind of what it's evolved into. And I'm on a mission now, and that is to really help other people to grow cut flowers, whether for profit or for pleasure. And I do that by showing you kind of what I do, how I do it, what I do it with, and just kind of showing the stuff that we do here on our farm, and what's kind of going on. So I'm going to run through some straw flowers. They're all my favorites. How useful each one is. Some are better than others as far as their color goes. How I succession plant them, and we also have, we've been making these new beautiful seed sets, and they have been such an incredible hit. And I just want to show them to y'all. We've sold out the last 3 weeks. We've introduced two, and we sell out of them, and we've restocked them. And I want to show them to you because we think that they're really, really special. And I want to also be sure that you've heard about, I'm doing a free masterclass. Today is February 25th. So I don't know when you're watching this, if you're watching a replay. In the next few days, I'm doing 2 free master classes on where to sell your cut flowers. I know that learning how to grow cut flowers and managing a working garden is so different than just gardening, right? And it all seems like so much, but I'll tell you what stops people in their tracks. And that is not the growing part, y'all. It's selling the flowers. So I'm doing 2 free master classes, and you need to sign up because you have to get the link. And you can do that over on my website, thegardenersworkshop.com. It's at the top of every page. And I'm going through 14 different possibilities and my take on each one. Plus, y'all, I'll be blowing away some of the myths that we hear about flower farming all the time that are just that, myths. Anyway. So I hope you'll join me for that. And so I want to show you first. Oh, and I should say this, that if you're watching this on a phone, you may not be able to see this, but right below this video is a ribbon with all the items that I'm talking about. So you have full access to learn more, get them, buy them if you want to. But that's right below the video. And if you are on a phone and you can't see it, if you close the comments, you can see it better. And if you have questions, post them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get to them. So the first one is the red, white, and bloom seed set. Y'all look at this. This is blue ageratum, the giant Benary's giant scarlet, lemon basil, afternoon white, Cosmo, and look who's bringing up the rear, but explosion grass. And let me just show you. There's in real, that's the zinnia. Afternoon white is the largest Cosmo I've ever grown. It's so showy, in addition to the other qualities that actual Cosmos have. And Blue Horizon Ageratum is another one that I find that people don't know how to really make the most of it. We love grouping 2 or 3 stems together if their blooms are too small, to have a lot of impact in any bouquet, but especially this one. And then, of course, Miss Burns lemon basil for fragrance that makes it smell great. And I am a huge fan of explosion grass. And in this red, white, and bloom, I mean, it's just perfect, right? And this is kind of a celebration of our 250th anniversary here in the United States. And this is how it comes to you. How cute is this, y'all? It's got a little ribbon on it. It's 5 individual packages of seeds. And it's $19.95. It's a limited edition. I'll say that because we don't always restock them. So that is the red, white, and bloom, which is so special. And this is the first one we introduced. And it is, you may know what it's all about. So the name of it is Secret Romance. And it is such just a beautiful bouquet. Let me show you the flowers that are in it. First off, we have the Queen Lime Blotch. That's a lime green zinnia with pink in the middle. Dropping stuff here, y'all. And then look at this Cosmo. This is the double click Snow Puff, which, you know, I find that the Cosmos that have more than single petals just last longer, especially if you learn when to actually harvest them at the right time. And then the Cinnamon Basil is the perfect accent to this with the reddish kind of bloom and stem. It looks great with that green zinnia. And y'all, do you grow this? This is Flamingo Feather Celosia. I love cutting it while it's still greeny on the end. I mean, it is just so soft and beautiful. And then, do you know about Love and a Puff? This is a vine, and these are the seed pods, and it hydrates beautifully. And we just absolutely love it. And again, look how they comes in this precious little ribbon with 5 individual packs. And it also has the image. I mean, this is a great gift idea. I'm thinking about Easter baskets, Mother's Day. Anyway, so those are our latest and greatest introductions in the seed world. And just love that. Now I want to talk about Strawflowers. So I have some sitting here that I want to show you, the good and the bad. So Strawflowers, actually these are known as not petals, but it actually is brackets. Listen, they bloom like that, y'all. That's not just dried. That's just kind of how they're born, right? Which is what makes them such great dried flowers. But friends, I'm telling you, they're even better as a fresh flower. So this is, in fact, the stage to harvest. See how the petals have not completely unfurled? And if you let them get open out in the garden before you harvest them, this is what they do. Look how ugly that is. That's the center of the flower. That's what's hidden inside there. And so this is harvesting on time. This is letting it go too long. And I have another example. Here's a white one. That is harvested at the proper time. You can see that the center petals are still kind of tucked in. And here is one with that ugly center showing. I mean, once you figure that out, you become like a stellar Strawflower harvester. So they are super long-lasting fresh flowers. And obviously they dry beautifully also. But I will tell you that back when we were in high production, making literally hundreds of bouquets every week, we never had any leftovers. They are such an amazing mixed bouquet ingredient. And it's because they last so long and they're such great colors. They're native to Australia. And they kind of like Lysianthus, like a cool start, but tolerate the warmth and heat of summer. And the papery brackets just hold up forever. They are very attractive to pollinators in the garden. Our native bee community, I have a huge longhorn bee community here as well as others. They love Strawflowers. I have so many videos of little tiny native bees all over the Strawflower. So it is great for your garden. And here's the best part, y'all. They're deer resistant. So you don't have to worry about that. So I want to show you, and I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are on each one of these colors. So again, all the products and all the seeds, everything you're seeing, you can actually purchase right below your the video. So this one is called Purple Red. Now, this is a great one, but I don't grow a lot of this. Look how dark it is, y'all. And this is meant to be like a accent flower. You wouldn't make a whole bouquet of this. So this one's called Purple Red. Absolutely love it. And I mean, have we ever said we've had enough great white flowers, especially white flowers that don't get dirty? That's them. This one's called Vintage White. We absolutely adore this one. And the next two are my real favorites. This is called Silvery Rose. It's a white bloom with a lot of pink on it. This is a great one to have for late May and in June. This for wedding season or baby showers, it's just a great pink color. But look at this one. I love bright pink. They actually call it bright rose. I love this one. I mean, we're always looking for popping colors for bouquets, mixed bouquets, and this fits the bill. And our tray of all of our straw flowers are now officially planted out in the garden. They were planted today and late last week. And we had such a great tray of bright pink. We had 100% germination. They were so beautiful. And then this one is called Orange, king size orange. And you can see how it's got, see that one's open, y'all. It's orange with a yellow in the center. That is so great. And if you time it right, do enough successions, which we're going to talk about, you can have these for late summer and into fall. And this color, y'all, the golden yellow, is useful anytime you can get your hands on it. It's so bright and showy. And see how this is the perfect stage to harvest. So it stays that way after it is harvested and indoors. And this is another one that's kind of like that red one I showed, the copper red. Now this is copper red. The purple red, they're kind of dark, so you don't want a boatload of them, but it's kind of a cool color. So, we adjust accordingly. Let's just say if I grow 20 feet of all the hot colors that I love, I would grow 5 feet of this. And then y'all, this is the peach mix. Love this one. Look at all the different variations in color. They are so pretty. And then this is our new featured choice mix. The choice mix is all the colors except for white. And just, if you aren't familiar with growing straw flowers yet, this is where I would start to get to know all the different colors, right? So this is really beautiful. And so let's talk about seed starting. And I wanted to show you. So this is the perfect size to plant straw flowers. All of their brothers and sisters were planted out on the farm today. These are the leftovers. And you can see they're growing in the 3/4 inch block, and you can see about how big they are. They're over 5 inches because they've been sitting. Actually, these guys were sisters and brothers were planted last week. But look how beautiful they are. And they're growing in the 3/4 inch block, which I'm going to show you here in just a moment. So I love the foliage. And strawflower foliage grows from the base. You don't get a central stem at this point. And we just really, really love them. So some general facts about strawflowers. It's kind of like larkspur, or what I find true with larkspur is you don't want to try to start old seed. We start with fresh seed every single year. And they just don't store well. So you don't buy an abundance thinking, oh, I'll buy for the next 3 years, which you can certainly do with some seeds when you store them properly. But with straw flowers, we have just found fresh seed is key. Straw flowers like to be surface sown, right on the surface, firmly seeded. And we use, when we do that, and is our wide weave burlap on the surface, and just get excellent germination. So I want to show you how I start them. Let me move some of this stuff. Straw flowers, I think back when I was first growing, hang on, y'all, let me get my stuff. You got to add some water. I didn't mix my water yet. I thought I'd let y'all see me do that. When I was first starting to grow, and I think I was very frustrated because I didn't have great germination. And that was because I always had seed that was left over or wasn't fresh. And I really blamed it on the straw flowers, right? So let me put some seeds in here first before I drop this seed packet. All right. So if y'all have never seen soil blocking before, this is the soil blocking tool. We import these from England. And I've been a soil blocker since 1997 or 96. And I was really attracted to it at first because of how space savvy it was. Because, you know, I have no greenhouses. I still don't have greenhouses after, 30 years. I live in the middle of the city. My city will not allow it. And so I found another way to start tens of thousands of seedlings at a time in this building in a grow room using grow lights and heat mats, and then having just such a great hardening off spot outside that, as I like to call it, I have one heck of a seed starting freight train on this farm. And when we were in just really high production, we started over 100,000 seeds a year, throughout the seasons. And we could do that because of soil blocking. It was just so space savvy. So once I get, and I am actually I'm just mixing water in to re-wet my soil that's been dry here since last Friday. This is a potato masher. I find that to be the best mixing tool. And this is 60 blocks and plants on this tray, y'all. That's like an 11 by 5.5 tray. That is what drew me initially to soil blocking. So, and because of my, everything started inside, like in a spare bedroom kind of situation used to be, I use flat bottom trays with no drainage holes. These are actually reusable foam trays that we literally use for years. So the way that you make the blocks is you wet the blocking mix. We hold the stationary bar and push it down just a couple of times, and that just ensures that the chambers are full. I use the potato masher to strike the bottom flat, and then you place it on your tray and just give it a squeeze. And just that quick, y'all, we just made 20 little 3/4 inch containers to grow and start our seeds in. So let me show you how I surface sow. Let me find here it is, my little stand so you can see me better. So as I mentioned earlier, strawflowers like to be surface sown. That means surface sown means that they are firmly seated on the surface of the soil. I put a little saliva on a toothpick and I'm pulling it out of a aluminum seed pan, which means no static electricity. And I just firmly place it on the block and it literally just lets go, y'all. That is how I do it. And I picked up 2. I don't want that. And you just firmly seed it. When it's firmly seeded and make good contact, that means that it's going to get moisture. It's going to benefit from the warmth, but yet it's not pushed down into the block. It still is having great access to light and to oxygen. And literally, it is that simple on how you actually place the seed. All right, so let me see where I am here. So the soil block maker, this is what it looks like when it's new and clean, y'all. And as I mentioned, we import these from the Ladbrokes in England. It makes 20 of those 3/4 inch blocks. It's $39.95. And you can buy this, and you can buy everything separately, first off, but we have a great kit, and let me show you that. The kit has what you need to actually get started soil blocking. And it's about, I think it's 18 or 19% savings when you buy all this stuff together. So this kit includes the blocker. It also includes your choice of either 3 cool season or 3 warm season seeds. You actually make that selection at checkout. And it includes my online course, Seed Starting Made Easy, that you actually own for life. You have unlimited access to that. It also comes with 5 of these reusable foam trays that hold 3 sets of 20. There's your aluminum seed pan, some toothpicks, and our little plant markers that I actually use like little tools to mess around with my soil blocks if needed. And then this is the ready-made blocking mix. This is called, this is like ready to go. You add the water. So you get all of this ready to roll for your soil blocking for $89.99, y'all, plus shipping, of course. But you're set to soil block. You're just simply ready to start off replacing whatever system you might be using. Space savvy. And what are some of the other things about soil blocking? They germinate quicker. And that is really about so much oxygen getting to the roots. They grow quicker. And so we literally shave about 1/3 of the indoor growing time off of the recommended. If it says start 6 weeks before your last frost date or before your plant date, we start at 4 weeks in advance. And they just hit the ground running. They don't suffer transplant shock because they aren't root bound. And so soil blocking is pretty awesome for a lot of different reasons. And here is, I mentioned earlier, the wide weave burlap. This is what I'm talking about. Literally, I lay this on top of those trays after they're sown. In the morning when I come out to water, I pull it back, I water, and then put it back down. And as soon as I see this traps moisture. However, it allows air to circulate. And as soon as I start seeing seeds starting to crack and show signs of life, I take the burlap off because you don't want seeds to pop through that. This has gone a long way in helping us retain moisture on the surface. And so many of the seeds that we sow are surface sown. So it's made a really big difference. Another piece of seed starting is a seedling heat mat. So this is a heat mat that has a built-in thermostat that is triggered from the air temperature. So most seeds in general germinate at 75 to 85 degrees. That's soil temperature. And you're thinking, well, shoot, my house is 72 or 70. I think I'll be fine. Well, that you're talking air temperature. We're talking soil temperature, which is a mass of soil. Generally, that mass of soil, even in the little blocks, is 15 to 20 degrees cooler than the air temperature. So if your house is 70, that means your soil is 50 to 55 degrees. And that explains why so many people have struggles getting seeds to germinate. This you plug in, place your trays either right on top of the mat when you're doing warm season stuff. But when we're doing cool season, like Strawflowers or a cool season hardy annual, we actually put a cookie cooling rack on the heat mat to create a little airspace. It still produces the 24/7 warmth, but it's not hot. And it does a great job. And you just turn it on and leave it on as long as you have seeds coming through your freight train, as I mentioned before. And you can also buy that bag of ready-made mix this is a 6-quart bag. You know how many blocks this will make? 500 to 600, y'all. I mean, it's just that little block makes germination quicker and faster and easier to achieve. And it's just super space savvy, and it's very resource savvy as well. So the other thing that I do with planting Strawflowers, something you can do, is you can pinch them. And so I have a 50% pinching rule. What that is unless there's a big reason why I'm pinching, like they're overgrowing and the weather won't let us plant them, only then would I pinch an entire tray. The 50% rule does this. If you pinch half the tray, then that means half the tray, the pinched half, is going to branch earlier, but the unpinched half is going to bloom earlier. So you get the best of both worlds. So pinching just encourages branching, and Strawflowers are awesome branchers. And we've done this year after year. It just really depends on what you're doing. But when you pinch them, those additional branches that you get is so very valuable. So how do we space them? So as a general rule, if you read any of my books, you'll see that I have a kind of a universal spacing in my garden with very few exceptions. And that is I make 30-inch wide beds. And in those 30-inch wide beds, I put 4 rows. And in the row, they're 6 inches apart. And strawflowers are no different. Now, because we are planting so intensely, we're planting intensely, we're planting close together, we're cutting constantly, so more growing. And so now more than ever, you need to feed your soil. And this is one of the fertilizers that we use at Sustain. And this is from Turkey compost litter. And it is, I'll tell you what's in it exactly. I have to read it. And here it is. I always look at it and it's right in front of me. It's turkey litter, feather meal, bone meal, and sulfate of potash. So, when you're using an organic product like this, you are feeding your soil and what's living in it, which is what takes care of your plants and delivers all the nutrients. Love this stuff. This is a 5-pound bag, and this will cover a 250 square foot space. Am I saying that right? Oh, I question everything I'm saying. Yes. It's late in the day, y'all. So love this stuff. And I love changing my fertilizers from time to time. So we have 2. We have a chicken litter base, and when this is turkey litter, it's got different qualities, right? And so you'll find that we do have larger bags of this. You'll also find that we have a larger bag of blocking mix. All of that is over on the website. Now, something that I've used for a really long time is, let me put this without tangling stuff, is biodegradable film on my farm. I've used it for about 14 years now, and it's looks like plastic, but it's a plant byproduct. And it's black on one side and light on the other side. You install it just like plastic, and it has the qualities of plastic, meaning it has great weed suppression, weed seed developing suppression, warms the soil, retains moisture, and it is super easy to pop a hole through. But it's a plant-based product. And it comes in several different sizes. It's all 48 inches wide. If this is the bed top and it's down, you got a raised bed, however much your beds are raised. It goes on the top and down the sides, and then you seal the edge of the bed like a picture frame, whether you scrape soil up onto the edges of it or mulch. What you're doing is preventing wind from getting up underneath the film. I laid it by hand with a tiller and 3 other women and 2 and 3 hand hoes for years. We now have a tractor implement that does it. It is so worth the learning curve it takes to learn how to put this down. The weed suppression of annual weed seeds is pretty phenomenal. So it's all 48 inches wide, which means that it will work on up to a 36-inch wide bed, because you need enough to go down the sides and then to have a little bit to go flat on the ground to put whatever you're going to seal it with, right? Mulch or actual soil. It comes in 20-foot, 50-foot, and we have 100-foot. And then we have multi-packs. So you can find them all. When we are making beds, we look at what the afternoon temperatures are in the time that we're planting seedlings out there. If it is below 80 degrees, not going above 80, we love making it with the black side up, because that helps to just warm the soil just a smidgen. But once summer starts around here, and actually spring, and it's going above 80, we put the light side up. That cools the surface down a serious amount of heat. You don't want to cook your seedlings, right? So that's the biodegradable film. It is great for vegetables, flowers, whatever it is that you're growing. It does a great job. All right. The most important thing I can tell you about for strawflowers is you've got to use plant support netting. When we plant, so strawflowers are a cool season hardy annual. We plant them in very early spring, like right now. And when we plant them and get them in the ground so that they're so well established before they start blooming, they are chest high. I mean, they're pretty dadgum phenomenal, but they will go down in a nanosecond in a torrential downpour. So we use the flower support netting. We also use this as a planting grid to plant our plants at perfect 6-inch spacing because each of these holes is 6 inches, right? But we install this suspended above our plants at the halfway mark. We put it at about the 24-inch mark for Strawflowers, and then our plants just grow up through it. So you put it on before they reach 24 inches is the key to that, right? And flower support netting also is available 20 foot, 50 foot, 328 feet, or 3,280 foot rolls. All the sizes are over on our website. It's reusable from year to year. It's plastic. It's super easy to cut. We roll it up after we pull it off at the end of the season, pull it up, roll it up, put a little piece of tape on it, and you can use it from year to year. It keeps your flowers from going down, and Strawflowers particularly because the blooms are kind of opening. I mean, water gets trapped in those blooms and it just makes them heavy and they just ride right down to the ground. All the netting is 36 inches wide, and you can cut it to your need. So what about succession planting, right? I mean, yes, for sure, succession planting. So what does that mean? That means that we plant them multiple times to extend our harvest as well as the quality of our harvest. And so the first succession is very early spring. I don't fall plant Strawflowers. They are borderline winter hardy. I'm in zone 8A, but we find that it's just not necessary to plant them in the fall because our very early spring plantings get this tall, y'all. They are so abundant. So very early spring, which is 6 to 8 weeks before your last average spring frost, which mine is right now, mid-February to March 1st, because my last frost is mid-April. So we planted them. When we were in high production doing all those bouquets for supermarkets, we would plant additional plantings. So we would plant this one and we'd have others that the seeds were started right kind of when that planting would happen and ready to go in the ground 4 to 6 weeks later, and then again, and then again. And what I learned is even though they perform best being planted into cool to cold soil and getting established that way, they do perfectly fine being planted later in the season when the soil has actually warmed up. They may not be up to here, but they are still hip high. They are plenty tall enough to do what you need to do with. And that way you just have an abundance of quality of flowers. They are such an amazing bouquet ingredient. I mean, everybody that we sold to wanted them. Supermarkets, florists, and the bouquet makers here on the farm wanted a nice stick for every single bouquet because it's a great long-lasting pop of color, right? So Strawflowers, I think, people struggle with germination. I think it's because of the quality of the seed. And they don't realize that you can get them in the ground so much earlier in the year by planting in very early spring. And, how do you know all this stuff? And I don't know if you guys have heard about my new introduction this year, and that is the big calendar journal that actually has guided me through the years. I developed it becoming this succession planner. So this is a 20 by 30 inch wall hung calendar. It has months. They're just after it. This is the front page, which is all of my instructions. This has 9 planting windows that you plug your first and last frost dates into, and you figure out for several cool season planting windows and then several warm plus sunflowers. And then all of this is about planning your seed starting schedule. Y'all, you have to know when you're supposed to plant something, the proper time, before you can figure out when you're supposed to start the seeds. And sadly, I did it too. People most often do it the other way around. They just think, oh, I need to start seeds and start. It's like, oh, wow, it's weeks earlier than what it's supposed to be planted. And then it just kind of turns into a train wreck. So it's called the Big Calendar Journal. The reason it has the journal attached to it, I have 15 years of these calendars. And When you write on them, I have a last page full of instructions of suggestions of the way that I write on this calendar for my planting windows, for my seed starting schedule, but also a lot of other information depending on what applies to you in your garden, how to write on it. And when you follow kind of a methodology of doing that, it becomes the best garden and farm journal you have ever had. It's actually a journal that becomes useful. You can actually look back. Oh, I want to look back. What did I start last January? What did I start last March? And it has everything you need on it that you fill out following the planting windows, then your seed starting. It also comes with, I give you a QR code, which is what this is right here. You scan that with your camera, and that leads you to a page that has 6 or 7 pages of my seed starting worksheet. Once you know your planting windows, you can sit down with 66 different flowers, my favorite cut flowers, and sit down and work out your seed starting schedule. So this is $39.95, and this is what developed me into this succession planner and planter, because it was so simple, y'all. I mean, it becomes so black and white when you follow the rules of like, when am I supposed to plant that? Okay, now I can count back. When am I supposed to start the seed? It just simplifies it. So would love for you to have one while they're still available. All right, and the last thing I think, well, almost the last thing, I have a couple more things, is the Cut Flower Handbook. This is my book that answers every question you have about growing cut flowers. How to set your garden up. My best piece of advice from this book is to start as small as possible. Those are the people that we see that go on and that become successful, whether you're a home gardener or a budding flower farmer. Learn how to grow a cutting garden before you start going big, because you'll crash and burn. This tells you how to set it up, the whole 9 yards, cutting and harvesting. It features 66 different flowers. And when you purchase this from us, we include, I couldn't fit all the flowers in the book. So we have a PDF download we send you the link to, or a QR code that you can download that has 6 additional flowers that follow the same format as the back of the book. And I was supposed to show a page. Let's see what page. I bet this is Strawflowers. Susie has pages highlighted here. Oh, it is. So this is not too impressive, but this is a bed of Strawflowers that was just planted into the biodegradable film. And then each flower, there's 66 different flower features. Each flower feature has 3 or more pages. So this is a collage. Those are all Strawflowers, y'all. Isn't that beautiful? It was so beautiful. We made it here with the photographer. It was so very pretty. And then we had it for our open farm. And there is a bouquet of the Strawflowers. So with each featured flower, like Strawflower, it tells you everything. Varieties, how to start it from seed, what the seedling looks like. Just everything that you need. Would love to sign one of these books and for you to get that bonus. And, then here's the icing on the cake is harvesting, right? So if you didn't pinch, and so you have that central stem, when I cut that central stem, even though sometimes they're up to here, I don't need to cut them all the way at the ground. I cut them all the way at the ground. I mean, right above ground level. I'll leave a stump about that big because that stimulates more sprouts to come from the base of the plant, y'all. And so we cut deep and low, and that is so hard for people to do. And to do it while there's still 2 to 3 layers of petals wrapped around the center like that, right? Just avoid doing this. Don't wait until the centers. This is what continues to happen. This is what they look like, 2 weeks after you cut them. They just aren't dry flower worthy because customers love drying these flowers. And so I do definitely use CVBN. That is the chlorine treatment. It's a pre-treatment because straw flowers also dump a lot of pollution into the water. This prevents that and delays it from happening. So this comes in, this is a bottle of 80 tablets. We put one of these in every harvest bucket here on our farm. And that just gives you a couple more days of vase life. It prevents the bacteria and then delays it from ultimately starting. And it's also available in 800 counts. And I think I'm going to wrap it up, y'all. I just want to remind everybody that if you visit my website, thegardenersworkshop.com, we have so many resources over there for you all. And right now we have a free resource that's becoming available, and that is a free masterclass that I'm doing on Friday and Monday. Today's the 25th. So I think that's 25th, 26th, 27th. Today is Wednesday, right? I think it's 27th and then the following Monday. 2 free live master classes, but you have to sign up to get the link. There's a PDF in the email that comes to you. Be sure you print it out. And I go through 14 different outlets to sell flowers, as well as kind of break some of the myths that you may be hearing about flower farming and just how hard it is or not, or how many there might be or not be as far as the market being crowded. So please join me, and you can sign up for that over at thegardenersworkshop.com. It's at the top of every page. Would love for you to be there for that, as well as we have a ton of videos, blogs, so many resources over there, and you can shop our entire store. I'm just reading, Elizabeth says, I learned about straw flowers listening to your videos. Love, love, love them. Thanks, Elizabeth. We did not really grasp the beauty of straw flowers, meaning just how long they last. Straight bunches to supermarket, y'all, they could never, ever, ever buy enough. It's as good as coxcomb to them. So straw flowers are very underused. I'm just looking at the back of my book. Look how beautiful those are. That's pumpkin on a stick. Love it green. Clarkia, Nigella, and look at those plumes. Y'all, cut flowers are pretty dadgum beautiful. There's a reason that people are clamoring for them. You just have to learn how to grow them and sell them. All right, my friends, I hope to see you inside my live Where to Sell Your Flowers class, and you can head to thegardenersworkshop.com to get the lowdown on that and get signed up so that I can see you there. All right, my friends, ciao.